Ron Howard has stayed quiet about his time on The Andy Griffith Show, and who can blame him? Growing up on one of TV's most beloved sets, everyone wants the inside scoop. After years of silence, Ron is now revealing his relationship with Andy Griffith. Was Mayberry as perfect as it seemed? Did Andy have the same charm off-screen? Get ready for some surprising revelations. The names Andy Griffith and Ron Howard bring to mind the small-town charm of The Andy Griffith Show. But their relationship wasn't just about fishing trips and life lessons. Behind the scenes, their bond was more complicated. For the first time, Ron is opening up about his time with Andy. It wasn't all strolls and father-son talks. What secrets is Ron finally ready to share? And what about those rumors of tension? Before becoming a renowned director, Ron was just a kid trying to make it in Hollywood. Born on March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma, Ron seemed destined for the spotlight. With parents who were actors, his path was set. By 15 months old, he was already on screen. When his family moved to Hollywood, his dad, Rance Howard, became his acting coach. Ron's early performances weren't just cute, they were memorable. So, what does Ron say about his relationship with Andy Griffith? Stick around, it gets even more interesting. Ron didn't just stumble into Hollywood, he practically grew up in it. By 5, he landed his first film role in The Journey, 1959. Most kids his age were learning to tie their shoes, but Ron was acting alongside seasoned professionals. It wasn't until his appearance on Playhouse 90 that people saw his true talent. By 1960, when Ron auditioned for The Andy Griffith Show, he was already gaining attention in Hollywood. While his red hair helped him stand out, it was his talent and curiosity about acting that sealed the deal. At 6, Ron landed the role of Opie Taylor, becoming a household name. His on-screen chemistry with Andy was magic, but what happened behind the scenes was just as important. Andy took Ron under his wing, teaching him everything from comedic timing to the importance of character motives. It wasn't just acting lessons, it was life advice wrapped in sitcom charm. For Ron, The Andy Griffith Show wasn't just where he worked, it was where he learned. While most kids were figuring out recess, Ron was soaking up lessons on collaboration and storytelling. How many kids can say they got life advice from Andy Griffith? Andy Griffith's journey started in Mount Airy, North Carolina, the inspiration for Mayberry. Born on June 1, 1926, Andy grew up during the Great Depression with humble beginnings. His love for music led him to a trombone, and although he initially aimed to become a teacher, his wit and storytelling talent brought him nightclub gigs. His big break came with a hilarious football monologue that went viral before the term even existed, selling over 800,000 copies. This success launched Andy into the entertainment world, where his down-to-earth charm became his trademark. Off-screen, Andy was more than just a co-star to Ron. He made life relatable, often sharing stories to teach valuable lessons. Ron later said Andy's wisdom shaped him both personally and professionally. Even after the show ended, they stayed close, with Ron often calling Andy for advice. Andy wasn't just a TV legend. He was the mentor you'd wish for, wise, approachable, and full of charm. In a heartwarming gesture, Andy gifted Ron a signed guitar as a token of their friendship, something Ron still treasures. Their bond was built on mutual respect, making it one of Hollywood's finest mentor-mentee relationships. The Andy Griffith Show, which aired in 1960, became a classic, capturing the essence of small-town life and timeless values. Over 8 seasons, it was consistently one of the top-rated shows. Andy's Sheriff Taylor represented compassion, while Ron's Opie embodied innocence and curiosity. Their father-son dynamic was touching, and behind the scenes, the cast and crew fostered a warm, family-like atmosphere. Fun fact, the show's whistling theme, The Fishin' Hole, remains one of the most recognizable TV tunes. The show not only solidified Andy Griffith as a TV icon, but also launched Ron's career, setting the stage for his future stardom. Transitioning from a beloved child star to adulthood is tough, but Ron did it with grace. When the show ended, it wasn't just another season wrap-up, it marked the end of an era. As Andy stood at the microphone, the realization hit him. He wasn't just saying goodbye to a job, but to a family and a way of life. The tears came, he realized the show had been more than a gig. It was a huge part of his life. And with it ending, he wondered what life would be like without it. Ron's dad came to California hoping to fulfill a dream postponed by the Korean War, but it was his son who got the big break. That twist of fate turned his dad into Ron's acting coach, breaking down the craft in a way a child could understand. Even at 4 or 5, Ron was learning the basics of Stanislavski, simplified. His dad would guide him through scenes, explaining the emotions behind the line. And if Opie was getting away with something, his dad would remind him, "That's TV, not real life." But Ron's dad wasn't just a coach. He had a rare gift. No matter how powerful someone was, he wasn't afraid to speak up. He worked with legends like Andy Griffith and Don Knotts. But even with these big names, he wasn't afraid to say, "This isn't working. Let's make Opie's relationship with his dad more real." And the crazy part? They listened. That decision transformed the show. Fast forward to the final days of shooting. At 14, Ron faced the rap party. The show was still #1, but Andy was ready to move on. He had other interests: sports, directing, and school. But when the final day arrived, Andy took the mic, and the tears started flowing. It wasn't just a show ending. It was the end of a chapter in his life. Years later, when a reunion movie brought the show back, Ron had moved on. He was directing and had even left Happy Days behind. But when Andy asked him to reprise Opie, he agreed. The memories were untouched, the bond just as strong. It felt like no time had passed. Ron wasn't content to ride the Opie wave forever. In 1973, he landed a standout role in American Graffiti. The film's success proved Ron wasn't just the kid from Mayberry anymore. At the same time, he attended USC's School of Cinematic Arts, eager to learn filmmaking. By 1977, he was directing Grand Theft Auto, a low-budget wild ride produced by Roger Corman. Then came the big hits: Splash, 1984, a rom-com with a mermaid, and Cocoon, 1985, a heartwarming sci-fi tale. These films solidified Ron as a filmmaker, showing that reinvention in Hollywood isn't just possible, it's necessary. In 1975, Ron married Cheryl Alley. Nearly 50 years later, they're still going strong. In an industry where marriages often end as quickly as movie scripts, Ron and Cheryl are the exception. Cheryl, a gifted writer, became his rock in navigating Hollywood's wild ride. Together, they built a close-knit family, including daughter Bryce Dallas Howard, now an actress and filmmaker. Ron credits his career success to Cheryl's support, and he often says being a dad has shaped his storytelling. Their marriage is proof that love can survive in Hollywood. Meanwhile, Andy Griffith continued to dazzle audiences with his role in Matlock, proving Southern charm never goes out of style. He also released country and gospel albums, but always remembered his Mayberry days as the highlight of his career. He stayed close with his castmates, especially Ron, whom he called his son in spirit. Andy spent his later years balancing his career and personal life, ensuring his legacy remained intact as one of America's most cherished entertainers. Meanwhile, Ron Howard's move from Mayberry to Milwaukee in the 1950s came through Happy Days, where he played Richie Cunningham. The show became a massive hit in 1974, launching Ron's career. Off-screen, Ron soaked up everything about directing, turning Happy Days into his launchpad into filmmaking. Andy wasn't just the lovable sheriff of Mayberry, he was also a mentor who gave Ron priceless life advice. Their bond stayed strong after The Andy Griffith Show, with Andy encouraging Ron's dreams of becoming a director. Ron took this advice to heart, and in 1984, Splash became a surprise hit. He followed it with Cocoon in 1985, cementing his filmmaking career. Despite his TV persona, Andy was reserved and valued his privacy. Those who knew him, like Ron, described him as having a sharp sense of humor, impeccable manners, and strong morals. Andy's love for music and humility shaped Ron's approach to life and work. Andy's influence helped Ron become the respected filmmaker he is today. Ron's directorial career soared with Apollo 13, 1995, and A Beautiful Mind, 2001, earning him Academy Awards. Despite health struggles, Andy's resilience inspired Ron, especially his recovery from a heart attack and Guillain-Barré syndrome. Their bond remained strong, with Andy always proud of Ron. Their father-son dynamic set a gold standard for TV families, and Ron keeps Andy's memory alive by sharing his wisdom in interviews. He credits his success to Andy's values: respect, kindness, and staying calm. As a director, he keeps Andy's spirit alive, fostering a drama-free, collaborative set where everyone feels like family. It's the kind of leadership Andy would have loved, and his legacy lives on in every film Ron makes.